Hello, fourth graders. Today we're going to be starting our lesson having to do with conflict and resolution. Now, on day one, we're going to focus on one strategy that we can use when we're trying to determine what conflict or resolution is, or problem and solution. And we're going to use a strategy that we've used before, which is the stop and jot. The objectives are that the student will be able to identify the problem, conflict, and the solution, the resolution, by jotting notes as you read. The language objective is that the student will write and discuss the problem and solution of a story. So, what is conflict and resolution? Like I had mentioned earlier, it is pretty easy. It's problem and solution. That's how we normally hear it. The conflict or problem is what goes wrong in the story. It might also be the conflict or challenge the character or characters are facing. The resolution or solution is how that problem, challenge, or conflict was fixed or solved. So as you watch the video, think how this connects to that strategy of stop and jot.
How do you keep track of important information while reading? In this lesson, you will learn how to keep track of the problem and solution by jotting notes as you read. Let's review. The problem is what goes wrong in the story, and the solution is how the problem is fixed or resolved. A common mistake students make when reading is not stopping to think about the story. And when you don't stop to think about the story, oftentimes you miss important information, such as the problem or solution. So in this lesson, we're reading The Settlers of Jamestown. And in the first sentence here, I see their journey to the New World was challenging right from the start. So I know that this story is going to tell me some problems since the settlers were facing challenges. So I'm going to set up two sticky notes, one with problems and one with solutions, so that I can take notes while I'm reading. So in my reading, I see that the settlers expected to find Native Americans settled. I also see that the area that they had chosen as their new home was a very difficult place to live. So while I'm reading, I'm asking myself questions such as, what are the challenges and what's going wrong? And right away, I see my first problem that I'm going to list, and that is the marshy land that they chose to live on was a very difficult place to live. I'm going to continue reading, and I see that the previous settlers had treated the Native Americans of the New World cruelly, so they were wary of the English. This would also be another problem, because the settlers were not getting along with the Native Americans. So under problems, I'm going to add a second problem, and that is that the Native Americans did not trust the settlers. I'm going to continue to read, and I see that the English built a fort around their settlement to protect themselves. Now, this is not a challenge or something going wrong, so I'm also asking myself, how are the challenges being resolved? How are those problems getting fixed? And this is something that they try to do as a solution to their problems. So on my solution sticky note, I'm going to add my first solution, and that is that the English built a fort for protection. In that same paragraph, I see that without any stable crops, many of the men starved. This is going back to the problems, so I'm going to add to that sticky note that the unstable crops equaled many of the settlers starving. In the same paragraph, I see that inside the fort and the river from which they lived became filthy and polluted, so many more men died of disease. And this is something going wrong, so this would be another problem that I would add to the list. And that is that disease from the river was a problem. So in the following paragraph, I'm going to continue reading and looking for problems and solutions. And I see that around this time, a ship from England arrived with a new group of settlers. Although the English and Native Americans still did not have completely peaceful relations, they both decided to help one another. They traded goods, services, and knowledge. So this would be something that is going right. This is a solution. And I would write down for number 2, a ship arrived with goods and men. And also, number 3, Native Americans and settlers began to work together. So in this lesson, I followed 3 steps. First, read and ask, what are the challenges? What's going wrong? Second, ask, how are the challenges being resolved? And third, track your thinking on sticky notes. In this lesson, you have learned how to keep track of the problem and solution by jotting notes as you read.
All right, fourth graders. So here, as you can see, there's a direct connection with the stop and jot and how we can use that strategy when we're trying to figure out or determine what the problem and solution are in a story. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to practice. Now, if you don't have a sticky note, that is fine if you don't have sticky notes, because you can just write on in your reader's response journal any important, you can just do like a T and then just put problems on one side and solutions on the other. And as you come across that important information, that's one way to do it if you don't have any sticky notes. So let's look at this reading. This is going to be a small reading, and all it's asking us is to identify the problem and the solution. So let me bring up the form. Okay. So if we look at this form here, it's telling us that it's a story and then it's giving us 2 options. So let's look. It says, Bella was having a big problem. Her big softball game was today, and she couldn't find her lucky bat. She just knew that she wouldn't be able to hit the ball without her lucky bat. She was the best hitter on her team. How would her team win if she couldn't hit well? Okay, so I can quickly identify the problem because it tells us, it gives us clues that she has a big problem right from the start. And the problem was that she couldn't find her bat. So we would write down as one of the problems that she could not find her lucky bat. Bella ran into the kitchen. Mom, I can't find my lucky bat. What do I do? Mom was feeding Ryan, Bella's baby brother, at his high chair. I'm sorry, Bella. I don't know where your bat is, and I need to feed Ryan right now. Bella ran into the garage. Dad was getting ready to cut the grass. Dad, I can't find my lucky bat. I won't be able to hit today. What do I do? Dad sighed. Bella, I need to get the grass cut before your game. Just use your teammate Emily's bat. No, Dad. My bat is lucky. I can't hit without it. Bella, don't be silly. Of course you can, shouted her dad over the lawnmower. He was already mowing the grass. Bella sat down on the front step and pouted. Why wouldn't anyone help her? Why didn't anyone know where her bat was? What if she couldn't hit anything today and her team lost? And everyone was mad at her. Suddenly, Bella sat up. She knew what to do. She hadn't even looked for her bat after she didn't see it in her bag. She just got upset. Now she knew that she needed to look harder. Bella looked under her bed. She looked in the garage. She looked in her room. Now there was the bat. Where was the bat? Bella sat down and thought. Then she remembered she had left it outside after she had practiced hitting with her mom. Bella ran outside and grabbed her bat. She was proud of herself for solving the problem, and she knew that she would hit well today. So let's look. Let's look. One of the problems that, or the main problem that Bella, and we're going to type this in, is that Bella, could not find her, and I'll write this in big letters because that is what she could not find her lucky bat. So what was her solution? Well, first of all, she tried asking her mom for help. She tried asking her dad for help. And then finally she realized that she could only rely on herself. So what did she do? She looked hard for her bat and finally remembered she had left the bat outside. And again, this reading is giving us another clue by saying that she had solved the problem. So the problem was that she couldn't find her lucky bat. And then how did she solve the problem? She remembered. She started looking for it and she remembered. Okay, so let's get back to the recording. Okay, so now what you're going to do during your asynchronous time is that you're going to go into Canvas and under the Unit 1 Reading Fiction and Nonfiction tab, you click into that, you will find an assignment titled Problem and Solution Practice. And just like the short story that we read together, you're going to read this next story. And it's not like the one we read. This is a different story. And it's going to ask you 3 questions. And you read the story, you answer the questions, and then you're going to share this document because it's a Google slide. You're going to share that with your teacher. All right, have fun. Practice your stopping and jotting and make sure you're able to find the problem and solution.